Part 51. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 501. The four of them were in the office. At about 7 o'clock in the evening, Zheng came with Mr. Zhang. They saw that although Mr. Zhang had changed his clothes, he still looked exhausted. His left eye was black and blue, and he still looked tired. Swelling. As soon as Mr. Zhang entered the office and saw them, he started crying. Such a burly man at such an old age stood there, crying like a child. His tears kept flowing. No need to ask too much, Lu Ligan and the others also, you basically know what's going on, and it's sad to watch. Lu Ligan quickly asked Mr. Zhang to sit down on the sofa. Qian Fang gave him a tissue. Mr. Zhang kept bowing to Lu Ligan and Zheng Wei, saying thank you, thank you, thank you. Zheng stood there a little embarrassed. Lu Ligan looked at him, and he quickly said to Lu Ligan, "Brother Lu, this matter is too hummed up, but brother Lu, you have to believe that this is definitely not my Zheng's idea. I am just an errand boy. Again, I am absolutely loyal to brother Lu." Absolute. Lu Ligan quickly stopped him and said to him, "I know you don't have such a big appetite, and you don't have such courage. You are just a gun used by others. Mountain cannons are not even serious guns," Zheng said quickly. "Brother Lu, just understand." Lu Ligan motioned for Zheng to sit down, but Zheng did not sit down. He looked at Qian Fang and Zheng Wei and asked Lu Ligan, "Brother Lu, among these two beauties, which one is Sister Zheng?" Lu Li pointed at Zheng Wei, and Zheng quickly stretched out his hand to Zheng Wei. Hello, Sister Zheng." Zheng Wei sat there, looking at Zheng intently, with no intention of reaching out to hold it. Zheng understood, smiled dryly and retracted his hand, rubbing it on his pants. "Have you brought everything?" Zheng Wei asked. Bring it." As Zheng said, he took out 2 loan agreements and 3 power of attorney letters from his backpack and handed them to Zheng Wei. Zheng Wei took them and looked at them. She had already seen the agreement and the 3 power of attorney letters, respectively entrusted to handle industrial and commercial and land change matters. Zheng Wei shook his head, handed them to Mr. Zhang, and said to him, "Mr. Zhang, look, did you sign these 2 agreements? And these 3 power of attorneys?" Mr. Zhang took it over to look at it and nodded. "Did you confirm that you only signed 3 copies of the power of attorney?" Zheng Wei asked. Mr. Zhang said yes. "Think again, have you signed any other documents?" Mr. Zhang shook his head and said, "No, I remember what happened yesterday very clearly." "Okay, you can handle these by yourself, Mr. Zhang," Zheng Wei said. Mr. Zhang quickly said thank you. He tore up the 2 agreements and 3 letters of authorization and was about to throw them into the waste basket. Qian Fang picked up the lighter on the coffee table and said to Mr. Zhang, "Give it to me and I will go and kill this people's belongings were burned." Mr. Zhang gave her the shredded agreement, and Qian Fang went to the bathroom. Zheng Wei looked at Zheng and said, "You have a message for the people behind you. I don't want to know who they are, but if I want to know, I will know right away, so that they don't think they are hiding deeply." Zheng nodded quickly, yes, Sister Zheng is right. Tell them, don't forget that there are mountains beyond the mountains. In this society, it is better to be more decent in doing things, rely on your own abilities and take the high road, Zheng Wei said, "Otherwise, if they fall into my hands next time, it's not that simple anymore." "Okay, I will definitely tell you, Sister Zheng. Also, I'm not your sister, so don't call me Sister Zheng." "Okay, I understand, Mr. Zheng. You go ahead." Zheng Wei directly issued an eviction order. Zheng, Lu Ligan, and Meng Ping nodded and went out immediately. Lu Ligan and Mr. Zhang said, "Mr. Zhang, please drink some water first, and then tell us what is going on." Mr. Zhang was drinking water, but before he could speak, he started crying again. Meng Ping patted his shoulder gently. No one of them spoke, leaving Mr. Zhang to cry. Knowing that he must have a lot of grievances in his heart, he let him cry enough. When Mr. Zhang calmed down and told them, they learned the whole story. Yesterday afternoon, it was Li Xiaofei who called Mr. Zhang and asked him to go to Haikan Hotel to talk about something. Mr. Zhang's brother-in-law sent him to the entrance of Haikan Hotel. He saw Li Xiaofei and another person standing there. Li Xiaofei and Mr. Zhang said, "Let's go sit in the lobby bar and let your brother-in-law take my friend around the construction site." Mr. Zhang asked his brother-in-law to drive the man to the construction site, and he and Li Xiaofei went to the lobby of Haikan Hotel. Not long after he sat down, Li Xiaofei's BB phone rang. After he called Mr. Zhang's big brother, he said to Mr. Zhang, "Let's go to Fukan to have a look. There is a friend who wants to sell a piece of land in Fukan. The price is very cheap. Okay, if so, let's work together. Anyway, this project will be completed in 3 or 4 months. By then, Mr. Zhang, you will have the money, but things are gone, and this project will just pick up." When Mr. Zhang heard this, he was naturally interested. He agreed that we would go there when my brother-in-law comes back. Li Xiaofei said that his friend came to pick them up and was almost at the entrance of Haikan Hotel. "If your brother-in-law didn't see us when he came back, he would definitely call you and tell him where to pick us up in Fukan. Now we are going to wherever in Fukan. Have no idea." Of course Mr. Zhang thought what Li Xiaofei said made sense. When the two of them arrived at the entrance of Haikan Hotel, Li Xiaofei's friend also happened to arrive, so they got in his car and went to Fukan. When they arrived in Fukan, they drove to a construction site. Even the foundation of that construction site had not been excavated. It looked like it had been abandoned for a long time. Li Xiaofei's friend told them that this was it. He took them in and walked to a simple workshed on the construction site. It was empty, except for a few chairs. Mr. Zhang was wondering what they were doing in the workshed. 5 or 6 people walked in from outside the door. Blocked them. Then they took out the 2 agreements and 3 power of attorney and asked Mr. Zhang to sign it. Of course Mr. Zhang refused, so they beat him. "I couldn't help it. I was tortured by them so much. You don't know. The feeling was really worse than life." Mr. Zhang said that he didn't care about anything anymore. He just did whatever they asked him to do. After he signed, they asked Li Xiaofei to sign again. Li Xiaofei said, "You just asked me to help you deceive Mr. Zhang, but you didn't ask me to sign a guarantee. If I sign this, I will be finished. What 15 million? I also want to pay it back. I can't sign this word." In the end, Li Xiaofei was also beaten. After the beating, he was told that as long as they signed the agreement with Mr. Liu today, Li Xiaofei would have nothing to do with him. He would not be toasted and would be fined. Li Xiaofei had no choice but to sign the agreement. After signing, Li Xiaofei and he were both taken out of the workshed. Li Xiaofei got into another car and left first. Mr. Zhang was put into an off-road vehicle and drove out. In the car, they also asked him to detain his brother-in-law. When his brother-in-law came back, they had already told him in advance, and Mr. Zhang followed their instructions. He told his brother-in-law that he went to Bihai, Guangxi to see a project, and was about to leave the island. His elder brother could not be contacted at the conference, so he asked his brother-in-law to help arrange things on the construction site. If there was anything he didn't understand, he asked Mr. Li Xiaofei. His brother-in-law asked him how long it would take for him to come back, and Mr. Zhang told him that it would be about 10 days and a half, depending on the progress of the project negotiations there. After answering the call, Mr. Zhang's mobile phone and BB machine were taken away by them. According to their plan, by the time you come back, all the projects here have changed hands, and maybe even the change procedures have been completed, Meng Ping said. Mr. Zhang nodded, and he and Lu Ligan and Zheng Wei said, Mr. Lu, Mr. Zheng, you are my great benefactors. If it weren't for you, I, Zhang Shaoan, would be finished this time. To be honest, I was taken out of Hiken by them. I kept driving it for several hours, and my heart became colder and colder. I didn't even know if I could return to Hiken alive. Where did they take you in the end? Lu Ligan asked. I don't know. When we got to the last place, there were no cars. After walking for more than 20 minutes, we reached a hut in a mountain kernel. It was just a lonely house. It seemed to be a hut of the Li people. Those who came back from earlier at that time, they told me that it was Changjiang, but I still don't know whether it was Changjiang. Fortunately, these guys are not clear enough in their thinking and their steps are confusing. Otherwise, this matter would be really troublesome, and I'm afraid there is nothing we can do, Zheng Wei said. How do you say this? Meng Ping asked puzzledly. You think, if they weren't so anxious and didn't come to us, and just went to change the industrial and commercial license and land first, wouldn't it be the same whether we agree or not? Zheng Wei said. When the others thought about it, it was true. Qian Fang asked, in this case, why are they anxious? They know that we are selling off the plant properties here today, and there will be a large sum of money. They are worried that before the company change is completed, we will have money to transfer to Mr. Zhang's company. Mr. Zhang's company, they cannot directly intervene yet, and they will use this money. I'm afraid of being transferred, Lu Ligan said. I didn't expect that I would meet you two when I got here, right? Meng Ping said. Logically speaking, no matter how Lao Zhang changes, it won't affect you. They probably think that as long as they put a little pressure on you, you will do what they want. Lu Ligan and Zheng Wei nodded, and they also felt that the other party might think so. Mr. Zhang was sitting there, feeling a little scared when he thought about it now. He said, well, it seems that I am really not suitable to stay in Hiken. I can't even understand this place, let alone understand it. How can I do this project? It's over, I won't do anything even if you kill him. I'd better go back to my Liuyang. Lu Ligan smiled and said, why are you going back to Liuyang? It's better to go back to the troupe and continue singing my flower drum opera, Mr. Zhang said with a wry smile. You don't need to sing. You can raise a Huagu drama troupe and sing for you every day, Meng Ping said. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 502. Mr. Zhang's matter here was settled, but Mr. Zhang was really frightened. The more he thought about it every day, the more frightened he became. Before the project was over, just over a week later, he hurried back to Hunan, leaving his brother-in-law in charge here. Anyway, Lu Ligan and his company are responsible for the sale of the house. After this incident, in Mr. Zhang's words, they are lifelong friends. Why should we not trust Lu Ligan and the others? Mr. Lu, what's the matter? Just call the shots. Li Xiaofei was also frightened to death, and then behaved himself, thinking only about completing the project and getting the project funds safely. Those messy people outside would try to make as few boundaries as possible if they could. People, they can fall out of favor faster than turning the pages of a book, and they can eat people without spitting out their bones. During this period, the real estate prices in Hiken were skyrocketing every day. In just half a month, the houses on Lonkin North Road rose from more than 2,000 to more than 4,000. In the entire Hiken, almost everyone, when talking about real estate, everyone wants to speculate in off-the-plan properties. Even the locals in Hainan who drink dad's tea every day and don't care about anything, all they talk about when drinking tea is speculating in off-the-plan properties. When Lu Ligan returned home, Yilan's mother refused to let him go when she saw him. She made sure to ask him how to speculate on this real estate. You'd better not do it. It's not easy to get every cent of your money. This real estate seems to be easy to make, but when it starts to lose money, It may also kill people, Lu Ligan said to Yilin. Honestly, Mom said. Yilin's mother was not convinced. She waved her hand around and said to Lu Ligan, everyone in our village is doing it, why don't I know how to do it? She pointed upstairs again and said to Lu Ligan, they all know how to do it, why can't I do it? I am stronger than them here. Of course she was referring to Wen Wen and Qian Qian. These two bastards ran from one building to another every day. They made some money. After making money, they came back and showed off every day. He told Yilin's mother how it was so easy to make money. Lu Ligan smiled and said, this is really not a matter of strength. They are just working. If they lose money, they will have to find a job. You can't do it. You have a family and Yilin, and you still have to go to school in Yilin. If you lose everything, what should we do? Yilin's mother finally listened to this, but she still didn't give up. She asked Lu Ligan, then when do you think you will lose money here? Lu Ligan shook his head, I don't know about this. Just like no one knows that real estate is so hot in Hiken. At this time last year, who cared about real estate? Look at this year, it's so hot. Who can is it accurate? If it becomes popular quickly, it will also suffer losses. No one can predict it accurately. Yilin's mother nodded, understanding. Lu Ligan went upstairs and scolded Wen Wen and Qian Qian. You can't stay idle. You have to run out every day to speculate in off-the-plan real estate. Can you please not show off in front of Yilin's mother when you come back? She is different from you. You are at a loss. Come on, she can't afford to lose, she still has Yilin to support. Wen Wen was not convinced and cursed, why the hell do you think we can afford to lose? I also have a house to build at home, and younger brothers and sisters to raise. Damn it, my house is not as good as Yilin's, it's still a thatched house, and my family is still waiting for me to go back and build a new house. Then you won't go back. Aren't you rich now? Lu Ligan cursed. Wen Wen rolled her eyes at him and ignored him. However, they did not tell Lu Ligan, but Lu Ligan felt that they secretly took Yilin's mother to speculate in real estate. Several times when Lu Ligan came back, he saw three women below, chattering excitedly. Seeing Lu Ligan's car stopped at the door, it stopped ringing immediately. Lu Ligan knew that there must be something wrong with them. He asked Wen Wen and Qian Qian, and they both said, no, no, you said you couldn't take her, how dare we take her? Lu Ligan now has some prestige in their hearts. The price of houses in Hongyu building has increased to more than 4,000 yuan. Many people who bought their first phase of pre-planned houses hurriedly paid the house payment in advance, fearing that their company would find a way to change their mind before they got the house. Something like this has already happened in Hiken. The developer suddenly announced that the price originally promised when selling off-the-plan properties did not count and had to increase the price. Those who did not accept the price increase could return the off-the-plan properties. In the end, there was a big fuss. Those who bought the off-the-plan properties, he destroyed other people's companies. In this way, for Lu Ligan and the others, of course, a large amount of funds could be recovered quickly. However, for the off-the-plan properties outside, like Wen Wen and Qian Qian, they were unable to pay the house payment, but they could still resist selling it. Yes, there are not many, and demand exceeds supply. When Lu Ligan told them that it was almost done and they could take action, Wen Wen and Qian Qian sold their 5 off-plan properties. One of them made a net profit of 120,000 yuan. The two of them went crazy with joy. That night, they hugged each other. Kissing Lu Lipol is not enough. The house payment was returned quickly. Mr. Zhang paid back the 14 million he owed Lu Ligan and the others in advance, and he felt more at ease staying in Liaoyang and not coming back. When Lu Ligan talked to him on the phone, there were men and women behind him. The sound of singing sounds like being in a rehearsal room. Lu Ligan asked Mr. Zhang, "What, you are back to the troupe now?" "No, no, I have no relationship to return to the troupe now, but people spend time in the troupe every day and go on stage every day. It is completely voluntary labor. They don't get a penny in compensation, and they have to treat them to supper. Mr. Zhang laughed. After hanging up the phone, Lu Ligan felt a little melancholy. He was in a daze for a while, thinking, it would be great if he could live such a life. This person is really a humming bitch. When he was in the troupe, he wanted to run away every day. It was true that there was nothing good about that shabby troupe, but time passed by like this, day by day, month by month. How did he feel, no matter how much he left? No matter how far I have traveled, my roots still seem to be in the theater troupe. Lu Ligan sighed and shook his head with a wry smile. What are you thinking about? Zheng Wei walked in, saw Lu Ligan sitting there in a daze, and asked. I didn't think anything of it, my brain was short-circuited, Lu Ligan said with a smile. Mr. Zhang's money is back, and now the time has come. Zheng Wei sat down across from his desk and told him. What time has it come? You're not going to keep the monkey in the dark, are you? Lu Ligan understood and asked, you hit me. Zheng Wei smiled and said, you go ahead and beat me. I'll beat this grandson, but I still have to hold him up. You beat him and see how proud he is. Lu Ligan laughed. He rubbed his face to make his expression serious, then picked up the phone on the table and dialed Sun Ho. Lu Lipol pressed the speakerphone, and he tried to speak to Sun Ho in a calm tone, saying that he has a piece of business that he needs to report to you. Say it, Sun Ho said on the phone. Lu Ligan told Sun Ho about their loan of 14 million to Mr. Zhang. Does Zheng Wei know about this? Sun Ho asked. Of course, she doesn't know how she can get the money out. She has done an assessment and thinks the risk is controllable. That's okay, Sun Ho said, you can just decide on this. By the way, when will the money come back after I go out? Is back. Have you come back? Have you seen the benefits? See, we have made money now. The whole project will be completed in about 2 months, and the returns can be reflected. How much? Sun Ho asked. Lu Ligan looked at Zheng Wei, and Zheng Wei stretched out 5 fingers. Lu Ligan and Sun Ho said, 50 million. How much? Sun Ho was obviously surprised. 50 million. Holy shit. You can do it? Damn it, you guys made 50 million without saying a word. Is there any humming reason for this? We are as tired as dogs, and we have been working for 2 consecutive years so far this year. We haven't made even $1 million. Yesterday, President Zhu held a meeting with us, and he was still worried about how to complete this year's tasks. Damn it, Yu Hainan, this has exploded. Wait, I'll report to President Zhu immediately. Sun Ho hung up the phone as he spoke, and Zheng Wei couldn't help laughing. She said, this grandson must be running forward to go to Governor Zhu. Why did you say it was 50 million? Lu Ligan asked Zheng Wei strangely. They had already calculated that after completing this project, based on the price of the first phase, they could earn more than 70 million, not counting the second phase that will be sold soon. And the third phase? The selling price of these 2 phases starts from at least 1,500 yuan per square meter. After this calculation, their profit is far more than 70 million yuan. Zheng Wei said, if it doesn't surprise me, this monkey will come to Haikan in the next few days. Don't you want to give him another surprise? Lu Ligan said, that really becomes a monkey trick. Yes, he is also happy to be fooled like this. If you don't believe it, ask him when he comes, Zheng Wei said, and both of them laughed. Zheng Wei stood up and was about to go back to his office when the phone on Lu Ligan's desk rang. Zheng Wei sat down again and said, it can't be a monkey, can it be so fast? Lu Ligan picked up the phone and it turned out to be Sun Ho. Sun Ho said a word to him and hung up the phone. He said, Gangzi, President Zhu and I will come to Haikan tomorrow. Putting down the phone, Lu Ligan looked at Zheng Wei. Zheng Wei said, "It's not surprising that this monkey wants to come to Hiken. I didn't expect Lao Zhu to come too. Be careful." "What are you careful about?" "When they come this time, they may make some big moves, so you have to be mentally prepared," Zheng Wei said. "What big move?" Lu Ligan asked. Zheng Wei shook her head and said, "I went to Lin Yiyan yesterday. Lin Yiyan told me that now they are doing well. Hundreds of millions of dollars are coming in every day. Most of the money comes from banks, securities companies, and state-owned enterprises across the country. If you think about it, everyone is moving. Get up, Lao Zhu, including Lao Li, can they still sit still? We have one foot in Hainan, so we have an advantage over others. Thank you for the reward for reading the book in a different mood. Thank you for all the recommendation votes and reading. I wish everyone good health. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 503. Sun Ho and Governor Zhu arrived at noon the next day. Lu Ligan and Zheng Wei picked them up at the airport and arranged for them to stay at Wanghai International Hotel. After staying, they had lunch at Wanghai Restaurant. During the meal, Zheng Wei reported the situation of Hongyu Building to President Zhu and Sun Ho in detail. The sales of the second and third phases will start next week, with an interval of 1 week. The income of the entire project, conservatively estimated now, should be over 70 million. Governor Zhu and Sun Ho looked at each other and laughed. Sun Ho looked at Lu Li and scolded him, "You guy, you're setting an ambush for me." Lu Ligan smiled and said, "I'm afraid you think I'm bragging. Anyway, wouldn't it be better for you to come over and verify it yourself?" Sun Ho and President Zhu were happy. President Zhu said, "Oh, everyone said that Hainan is very hot now. I didn't expect it to be so hot. You fired the shot well. It shocked our entire Beijing branch. President Li also sent me and Zia-sun, call everyone over." "What did the boss say?" Zheng Wei asked. "Of course I am praising you, especially Xiao Lu. He said that he saw from the last time he came here that Xiao Lu is a person who can do great things. This is a good choice." Lu Ligan quickly said, thank you, it's all the leaders who lead well." Zheng Wei chuckled on the side, but his face turned slightly red. Why did she feel that these words were meant for her? What does it mean to be a good candidate? Sun Ho was a little proud on the side. He knew that this was of course meant for him. The choice was good. Wasn't he the one who chose Lu Ligan in the first place? Sun Ho looked at Zheng Wei, and his heart skipped a beat. He felt that Zheng Wei's reaction was a little strange. Sun Ho understood, but still pretended not to understand anything. "We come here mainly for two things." Governor Zhu, Lu Ligan, and Zheng Wei said, "First, we have decided that I will not continue to serve as the legal person of Hainan Jinghai Real Estate Co., Limited, but Xiao Lu will be the one. This is mainly for the future. It is convenient to conduct business. You cannot say that if something happens to you, if I don't sign, you will not be able to proceed. This will delay business opportunities. The second thing that President Li asked for is that you must have a new idea. Now that Hainan is so hot, other brother banks are also trying to squeeze into Hainan. We have this foundation and cannot fall behind. What President Li means is that in Jinghai, on the basis of becoming an international financial center, you must continue to emancipate your minds and make a new big move." Lu Ligan looked at Zheng Wei and couldn't help but admire him. It seemed that she really knew her superiors well. "How's it going, Xiao Lu, are you confident?" President Zhu asked. "I will definitely work hard," Lu Ligan said. "It's not about trying hard. I'm asking, do you have the confidence to make another big move?" said Governor Zhu. "Yes," Lu Ligan said, "with the support of leaders, even if I am a bear, my confidence will skyrocket. President Zhu and Sun Ho laughed again. President Zhu said, it's a pity to put you in Hainan. President Li said, don't be afraid of big projects, the bigger the better. If the branch can't afford it, he can go to the head office. It's best to be so big that other businesses will look at you with envy, but you won't be able to catch up even if you want to, do you understand? Lu Ligan quickly said, I understand. Governor Zhu looked out the window and said to them, the weather in Hainan is quite good. We are still wearing cotton-padded clothes in Beijing. When we get here, it is completely summer. So, Xiao Sun and I will go for a walk in the afternoon. You guys, let's put the two together first. If you have any ideas, we'll talk about it tonight. That won't work, Zheng Wei said, there are still so many people in the company, and the battlefield is still there. When the two chiefs arrived, they didn't go to express condolences. This will affect morale. Manager Zhu smiled and said, okay, what time do you get off work? 6 o'clock, right? Then we can get to the company at 5:30, okay. Zheng Wei smiled and said, that's it? By the way, there is also the matter of changing the legal person. Let's do it quickly. Do you want me to sign this? You can finish it quickly while I'm here, President Zhu said. Zheng Wei pointed at Lu Ligan and said with a smile, that's okay. I am now Director Lu of the Industrial and Commercial Bureau. This trivial matter is not a big deal. Governor Zhu and Sun Ho were both surprised. Why did Lu Ligan become Director Lu of the Industrial and Commercial Bureau again? Zheng Wei told them the whole story, and they laughed again. Lu Ligan said, let me ask what procedures are required. He immediately called Xiao Zanbo. As soon as the call came through, they all realized that Xiao Zanbo was also eating. While he was chewing, he cursed, Director Lu, no way, I just eat to take a breath. What the hell are you still doing? If you don't want to let me go, do you want to make a phone call? What the hell are you eating, and are you afraid that I will eat for you? Lu Ligan scolded. In addition to fast food, what else will there be in the office? Do you want it? How many do you want? Come over here quickly, Xiao Zanbo said, if you fart, hurry up, Bureau Lu. You're not big or small, how can you talk to the leader? Lu Ligan scolded, I want to ask you something, how do you change the legal person? Who wants to change? Our company. Change to who? I. That's good. Remember, bring these, your and the original legal person's ID card, the resolution of the shareholders' meeting, the new company's articles of association, the legal person's qualifications. Forget it, just bring 2 ID cards and your company's ID card. Come here with your business license and official seal, and I'll have someone else get it for you. Okay, thank you brother, I'll come over in the afternoon. No, Xiao Zanbo shouted, don't come, just send someone over. Why are you afraid that I will eat you? I'm not afraid that you'll eat me. If you eat me, I'll be clean. As soon as you bastard comes, everyone in the office will stop and brag with you. Let me go. I'm so busy here. Aren't you here to cause trouble? Xiao Zanbo cursed, and Lu Ligan couldn't help but laugh. Governor Zhu and the others beside him also smiled as they listened. Where's Lao Ma? Lu Ligan asked. Just leave it to me, no matter what he does. You're so arrogant. You sound like you're going to subvert the regime. By the way, let me ask you, when will it be done? Are you in a hurry? If you're not in a hurry, I'll do it slowly. I'll wait for half a year. If you're in a hurry, I'll give it to you tomorrow. No, I'll give it to you in the morning the day after tomorrow. Okay, hurry up. Then have someone come over this afternoon with your ID card, business license, and official seal. Remember, don't come. Once you come, my place will be in chaos. Okay, I won't come, thank you. Roll. Xiao Zanbo cursed and hung up the phone. The people here couldn't help it anymore and laughed. President Zhu said, I have seen it, it is really Bureau Lu. He took out his ID card from his bag and handed it to Zheng Wei. After eating, Lu Ligan and Zheng Wei returned to the company first. Lu Ligan handed everything she needed to Wei Venfang and asked her to go to the Industrial and Commercial Bureau to find Xiao Zanbo. After sitting down in Lu Ligan's office, Zheng Wei asked Lu Ligan, you have boasted about this awesomeness. Do you have any idea? Hey, this is not my business alone. Don't even think about escaping. This requires a lot of effort, and I will definitely need the help of your eldest lady, Lu Ligan said. Do you treat me like a donkey? Zheng Wei cursed. That's right, Lu Ligan lowered his voice with a playful smile, donkey, I'm a male. I'm going to die. Zheng Wei's face suddenly turned red and he subconsciously looked at the door. After a while, she cursed softly again, I'm going to die. Why are you dying again? Zheng Wei frowned, looked up at Lu Ligan, and asked seriously, do you feel that the monkey seems to know something? I always feel that he looks at me a little strange. Lu Ligan smiled and said, you must have a guilty conscience. Tell me, what did we do in front of them that would make the monkeys see what you said? Zheng Wei thought about it carefully. After thinking for a long time, it really didn't happen. Not only himself, but also Lu Ligan paid special attention in front of Sun Ho and Governor Zhu. The two parties maintained the appearance of colleagues and deliberately distanced themselves. So deliberate that Zheng Wei himself felt it was a bit too deliberate. Zheng Wei laughed and said, okay, your performance is not bad, don't be proud, keep doing it. By the way, what are you going to do next? Zheng Wei asked. We don't know yet. Lu Ligan looked at his watch and said, you and I will go to the other side first. What are you going to do? Take a hot spring bath. I go to the hot springs during working hours. That means you often go to places like this outside of work, right? Zheng Wei asked. There are only hot springs across the street. Zheng Wei felt that he understood, his face turned red again, and he said coyly, don't mess around, you are still at work, you just want to go to the hotel. Lu Ligan laughed loudly. He looked outside and said, comrade, be more careful when working. I mean, I will take you to the planning bureau opposite later. Zheng Wei blushed with embarrassment and couldn't help but punch Lu Ligan. Thank you Dugu and Lao Chantang for your monthly votes. Thank you for all the recommendation votes and reading. I wish everyone good health. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 504. When Director Wang saw Lu Ligan and Zheng Wei coming in, he stood up happily. They were together. They were with Meng Ping and Qian Fang. They had eaten together countless times and had long been friends. What else do Heikan people do when they get off work at night? They just eat and sing. The men go on to do what men do. It's easy to become as close as a family. Although Lu Ligan's company is diagonally across from the planning bureau, the two of them spend a lot of time talking on the phone, eating together, and not going to each other's offices much. Therefore, although Lu Ligan is an old acquaintance, Director Wang sees when he came to see him, he still shouted, there are few guests, few guests. What gust of wind brought Mr. Lu here? Yao Feng. It's so hot in Heikan right now. Director Wang is a busy man and also a popular person. How about I don't come and show my face? If we haven't seen each other for 3 days, I'm afraid that Director Wang will forget me. Next time he sees me, Lu Ligan, with their chins in the air, Lu Ligan said. Director Wang laughed loudly, held Lu Ligan's hand and kept shaking it. Even if I forget the old woman in my family, I dare not forget you, Mr. Lu. Zheng Wei had never met Director Wang, so Lu Ligan introduced them to them. Director Wang held Zheng Wei's hand and couldn't bear to let go. He smiled and said, "Oh, all of them are young and promising. When I see you, I really wish I was 10 years younger." Director Wang, thank you for the award. You are now in the prime of life. Zheng Wei smiled, trying to take his hand out, but failed. He could only continue to hold it for a while, and then pumped again. Finally, he succeeded, but he felt sick in his heart. He felt that this man from Heiken, looked at when meeting the opposite sex, it's like a switch is turned on immediately, and he immediately reveals his hunger and thirst without even a little bit of concealment. Lu Ligan asked Director Wang, "Heiken is so hot, and the current planning of Heiken is still what I saw before, without adjustment?" Director Wang said, "The situation is stronger than people. How can we keep up with the development of the situation without adjustments? Of course we have. Let me go. How come your plan still looks like a stepmother's face, changing at any time?" Lu Ligan said with a smile. "Of course, planning, we will do what the leaders plan. The leaders of Heiken change like a revolving door," Director Wang said. "Wait a minute, Wang Chu, wait a minute. I must write down what you said so that I can use it for reporting later," Lu Ligan said seriously. Wang Chu laughed, glanced at Zheng Wei and said, remember, I'm a broken seaman who has reached the top. It's not my fault. If I don't do it, they really won't be able to find a replacement. The people who want to poach me are waiting in line. Does that mean that I also want to join the queue? It's too late, it won't be your turn to jump in line." Director Wang said, feeling quite proud. Lu Li pushed the pole again and shouted, "Okay, you are not Director Wang, you are the number one, the beautiful Lady Wang who is stunning in Heiken." Zheng Wei burst into laughter, and Director Wang looked at her and was also happy. Director Wang took them to the next door. Lu Ligan saw that the original sand table was gone. It was on the shelf of the sand table. It was now covered with a layer of glass. On the glass was a huge planning map of Heiken. Wang the director turned on the light under the glass and told Lu Ligan that the new sand table was still being made, so he would use this map to top it first. Lu Ligan asked, "Where is the new adjustment part of the plan?" Director Wang took the billiard stick, pointed it to them on the map, and said to them, "The most important places are these. First, if you see it, it is right here at our door, at the head of Lonken North Road. Here we need to build a century bridge to connect to Haidian Island, right here at Hainan University, so as to connect the entire Haidian Island to the urban area." "What a loss," Lu Ligan shouted, "if this is the case, will the value of the houses on both sides of Lonken North Road increase even more?" "Of course. Take a look. This end of Lonken North Road is connected to the Century Bridge to Haidian Island. This end is connected to the South Bridge. In the past is Lonken South Road, all the way to the planned Milan Airport, and behind it is in the Kuomao Development Zone. The short length of more than 300 meters on Lonken North Road must be very valuable," Director Wang said. Lu Ligan and Zheng Wei looked at each other. Lu Ligan felt that his Hongyu building was sold too early. Moreover, he did not regard this as a selling point in the advertisement at the time. If it was marked that his building was located between the South Bridge and the Century Bridge, in the middle, which is equivalent to the best place to get down from the approach bridges on both sides, the price can still go up. Don't think too much. There is no such selling point. If you have the ability, just leave it alone. The price has skyrocketed by now," Zheng Wei said with a smile. She seemed to understand what Lu Ligan was thinking. "We need to withdraw funds as soon as possible. There is no such thing as early or late. This is good," Zheng Wei added, and Lu Ligan nodded. He felt that Zheng Wei was right. It is meaningless to think about things with the benefit of hindsight. However, in the second and third phases of sales, this can still be used as a selling point. "Wang Chu, where else have you made adjustments?" Lu Ligan asked. Here Director Wang pointed at the glass with a billiard cue. Lu Lizan saw that the location he pointed was on the promontory just past Holiday Beach. The pressure on entering and exiting the island is too great now, and Jiuying port is already overwhelmed. A new pier, Xingang Terminal, will be built here soon, Director Wang said. Also going to Haiyan, Lu Ligan asked. Yes, this is about to start construction. The coastal avenue is already being extended forward, and there is a pier next to it. It is nearby, called Nangang Pier. Nangang Pier. Yes, this is a mid to long-term plan to connect to trains and ferries. What, you mean the train coming from the mainland is going to connect to Hainan Island? Yes, here, take the train and ferry to the island. Oh. That's really generous. Of course, do you think we are just for a living? Director Wang laughed. We are also working hard on the construction of the island day and night. Okay, next time I will set up a bronze statue for you in Haikan Park, a bronze statue of Dame Wang, Lu Ligan said, and the three of them laughed again. Wang Chu, I have a question to ask you. No reservations are allowed. For example, we are going to do a big project now. What suggestions do you have? Lu Ligan said. How old? The bigger the better, for example, like building another Kuomao development zone. Lu Ligan said. Even Zheng Wei was startled. President Zhu did say that the bigger the better, but he didn't say it was as big as a Kuomao. Such a big appetite, Director Wang was obviously surprised and asked Lu Ligan. Lu Lepol nodded. Director Wang stared at the map for a while and said, if this is the case, I suggest it be here, the west coast. He pointed the pole in his hand at the large patch of green on the map, across the road from Holiday Beach, and spoke to Lu Lepol. Isn't it too remote here? If you go there, you'll have to reach Lingao, right? Lu Ligan asked. You. Director Wang raised the pole, pretending to hit Lu Li with the pole, and cursed, do you have any idea, Lingao, do you know where Lingao is? Have you seen this area? The area between Xingang Pier, Nangang Pier, and Jiuying Port will definitely be the golden area of Haikan in the future. Zheng Wei looked at the map and nodded. She said, Director Wang's suggestion is good. I think it is a good choice. Lu Ligan hugged his chest with both hands. He also stared at the map. His eyes stayed at the end of Changde Road. To the east of Haidian Island, there is an island 2/3 the size of Haidian Island. There are two islands. There was a small river between them, and the island was shaped like a dog's head with an open mouth. He asked Director Wang. This is where? Xinbu Island. Director Wang pointed to the rivers surrounding the island. The one across from Haidian Island is the Hangagu River, and the one on this side is the Nanda River. This is the mouth of the Nanda River. How big is this island? 9.9 square kilometers, Director Wang said. Lu Ligan looked at Zheng Wei and said, Mr. Zheng, how about we take over this island? The size is just right. Let's develop it into a satellite city of Haikan, with resort hotels, golf courses, commercial complexes, villas, residences, etc. By the way, I've already thought of a name, it's called Jinghai City. Yes, how about we build a Jinghai City on this island? Lu Ligan became more and more excited as he talked, and Zheng Wei's eyes also lit up. She also thought this idea was good. You want to develop Xinbu Island? Director Wang asked. Yes, is that okay, Director? Lu Ligan asked. Of course you can, Director Wang said, but he immediately poured cold water on them. Our current focus is still on Haidian Island. The Zierga Group and Li Ka-shing's projects are both on Haidian Island. The development of Xinbu Island is not yet in our plan. If so, we will have to adjust the plan again. This is no small matter. You know, this not only requires the approval of the province, but also needs to be reported to Beijing. No problem. Zheng Wei blurted out. As soon as the words came out, she knew she had made a mistake. Sure enough, Director Wang was shocked when he heard her tone. He couldn't help but look at her. He knew that the major shareholder of Lu Ligan Company was from Beijing and had some background. But I don't know where this woman comes from. Can they really handle both the province and the central government? It all depends on people. As long as you work hard, there will always be a way, right? Wang Chu, Lu Ligan quickly interrupted. Of course, Director Wang said. Thank you Weiza 99999 for the reward. Thank you for your monthly pass to Smile and Run Y. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 505. The three people returned to Director Wang's office. Lu Ligan and Zheng Wei were about to leave. Zheng Wei asked. Director Wang, do you have a smaller version of the plan we just looked at? Can you provide us with a copy? Director Wang looked at Lu Ligan and then at Zheng Wei, hesitating a little. He said he didn't have this thing here. No one would believe it. Otherwise, how could you report it for approval and report it to leaders at all levels? Walking around with such a big map? But this information is the internal information of their planning bureau, and it is expressly stipulated that it cannot be provided to external units without authorization, or disclosed to the public. Lu Ligan looked at him and understood. He quickly said, Wang Chu, you still can't trust me? We are only using it for internal discussion and reference. It is limited to a few of our senior people and will never be spread outside. This information is money, it's just a business opportunity, but we're still worried about others knowing about it. Either way, there are leaders from Beijing here today, you can lend it to me and I'll promise to return it to you in a few days. For this reason, Wang Chu was pushed to the wall. If you keep nagging, you won't be a buddy. Isn't that what a buddy needs when you make mistakes all the time? It's all business, so who wants you as a buddy? Director Wang clapped his hands and said, okay, I'll send Buddha to the west. Mr. Lu, just don't hurt me. He stood up, walked to the cabinet, opened the cabinet, took out a printed matter as big as a newspaper, and spread it on the desk. Lu Ligan and Zheng Wei saw that the light yellow cover printed, Haikan City Urban and Rural Development Plan -1992, under the cover, there are 8 large characters printed internal information, please pay attention to confidentiality. When you open it, you will find a dazzling array of things inside, from the general planning map of Haikan to the planning plans of various districts and major public projects. Lu Ligan and Zheng Wei were overjoyed. Lu Ligan smiled and said, that's funny, Wang Chu. Next time you need me, feel free to insert your sword, but don't show mercy. Screw you. Director Wang cursed. He took 2 newspapers from the table, handed them to Lu Ligan, and said to him, here, wrap them up and don't let anyone see them when you take them out. Lu Ligan and Zheng Wei returned to the company, and Wei Wenfang also came back. Lu Ligan asked how she was doing. Wei Wenfang said that it was done, and Section Chief Xiao asked me to get the license the day after tomorrow. Wei Wenfang laughed as he spoke. Lu Ligan said, why are you laughing? Chief Xiao asked me to tell you that you must let me get it. If you go, he will not give us the license, Wei Wenfang said, and Lu Ligan and Zheng Wei both laughed. Then be careful, maybe that guy Xiao Zanbo has taken a liking to you, Lu Ligan said. Lu Ligan and Zheng Wei walked into Lu Ligan's office. Zheng Wei said, I'm going to wash my hands. When they were saying goodbye, Director Wang held her hand again. He held it for a long time. The hand was soft and greasy. It made me feel sick just thinking about it. If not for the precious plan that Director Wang gave them. For the sake of the book, she had already put her hand away. How can I not wash my hands? Zheng Wei walked to the wash basin and just turned on the faucet. Lu Ligan followed her in. He walked behind her and put his arms around her waist. Zheng Wei smiled, tilted his head back and pressed his face against Lu Ligan's face. Lu Lizan kissed her neck and moved his hand upward. The water from the faucet was running loudly, and Zheng Wei didn't have time to turn it off. His hands were wet, so Zheng Wei didn't have time to wipe them dry. He turned around, and the two hugged each other and started kissing. The two things assigned by President Zhu now have a clue, and both of them are in a good mood. At the same time, they have a feeling that they are about to start fighting side by side together, and there is even more tenderness in their hearts. "Okay, be careful, someone comes," Zheng Wei said softly and pushed Lu Lipol away. Lu Ligan kissed her again before going out. Zheng Wei turned around and continued to wash her hands. She looked up at herself in the mirror, her face flushed, and she couldn't help but make a face at herself. After the two people sat down to discuss, they couldn't wait for President Zhu and Sun Ho to come over at 5:30. Zheng Wei called President Zhu's room and learned that President Zhu and the others were still in the hotel. Zheng Wei said, "Mr. Lu and I will come over right away." Lu Ligan and Zheng Wei took the planning album to Wanghai International Hotel. After the four of them sat down, they spread the album on the coffee table. Lu Ligan and Zheng Wei talked to President Zhu and Sun Ho about their plans for the new project. They also introduced Director Wang's proposal to develop the West Coast. Governor Zhu and Sun Ho think both projects are very good, but in comparison, they also prefer the Jinghaikan plan. They feel that the development of the entire island will have a more sensational effect and will also be more autonomous. It is a three-sided project. Huanzhong is an independent island close to the sea. The decision-making power on how to plan and construct the island is completely in their own hands. President Zhu immediately picked up the phone, called President Li, and reported the two projects to the branch manager in detail based on the planning map. After listening to this, President Li told him that there was no need to think about it. As for the Shanghai Heikan project, if the funds were under pressure, they could refinance or take the trust route. If that didn't work, we could also introduce overseas consortium funds, or I would ask the head office to support. You let Xiao Lu and the others do it. After hanging up the phone, the three of them had already heard President Li's instructions on the phone without the need for President Zhu to convey it to them. President Zhu told them that it was settled. There is another problem. Xinbu Island is not within the planning scope of Heikan Planning Bureau. When we develop Xinbu Island, we must include it in the overall planning of Heikan. Otherwise, the municipal supporting facilities will not be there, and we will have to do everything. It is very difficult to do it yourself. To adjust the plan, you need the consent of the provincial and municipal levels, and you also need to submit it to the central government for approval, Lu Ligan, Zhu Xingchang, and Sun Ho said. Governor Zhu looked at Sun Ho, and Sun Ho looked at Zheng Wei. He said, "To raise troops for 1,000 days and use them for a while, all the resources in our bank can be mobilized. Besides, this is not for our personal benefit, but also for the country's contribution. There's nothing you can't talk about. What do you think, Lao Zheng?" Zheng Wei smiled slightly and said, "Okay, let's work hard." President Zhu was obviously relieved when he heard what the two of them said. He and Lu Ligan said, "You hurry up and make the plan. After we report it to the branch for official approval, we can start taking action." Lu Ligan said yes. The next day, Wu Ziyawai and Wei Venfang accompanied President Zhu and Sun Ho to drive to Sanya. Sun Ho said that in Beijing, when talking about Hainan Island, it means the ends of the earth. Only when they arrived in Hainan did they realize that the real ends of the world are in Sanya, and they have not been there several times. If you pass by Sanya, you must visit Sanya this time. Lu Ligan made an appointment with Mr. Han, Mengping, and Jason from Hong Kong's P/U0026T Architectural Design Company, and asked them to go to Xinbu Island to help him come up with ideas on what to do about the island's development plan. At this time, Lu Ligan thought of Zhang Chen. He thought it would be great if Zhang Chen were here. he would definitely be able to give himself a lot of ideas. His imagination in space is so rich. After reading this island, it won't take long before he will have a picture of the island's future in his mind and be able to draw it with a pen. Wu Ziyai drove to Sanya, and Mengping asked Cao Ziahe to drive with him to pick up Mr. Han. Qianfang drove another car and picked up Lu Ligan and Zheng Wei first, and then picked up Jason. They arranged to meet at the end of Causeway Road. By the time Lu Ligan and the others arrived, Mengping and Mr. Han had already arrived ahead of them. Where they parked their car, here was a 2- or 3-story old Nanyang-style house, and there was a vegetable field. At the end of the vegetable field was a low bush, and behind the bush was the Hangago River. In fact, it is also separated from the Nanda River, one on the left and one on the right, surrounding Xinbu Island. Xinbu Island is surrounded by the river on 3 sides and faces the Kiangsu Strait on one side. The Nanda River is the largest river in Hainan Island. Xinbu Island is located at the mouth of the Nanda River. It is an estuary island formed by the impact of the river over many years. There is no one living on the island and it is deserted. There are no bridges connecting Haidian Island and Haikan City. You can't get to the island without crossing the river by boat. They searched along the bushes and finally found a gap. Going down the steps from this gap, there was a simple small dock. There were 2 small fishing boats moored on the dock. Lu Ligan asked the people on the fishing boats if they could send them away. When they went to the opposite island, the fishermen told them that there was no dock on the island. Even if the boat docked, it would be difficult to get on, and there would be no way up. They had no choice but to give up and return to the parking place. Mr. Han suggested that we find a nearby building and go to the top of the building to have a look at the island, so that we can have an intuitive feeling. Everyone said yes. They walked back along Changde Road and slowly drove out for more than 100 or 200 meters. Mr. Han and Cao Ziahe said that that building was the building in front of them. Cao Ziahe turned left and went in. Qianfang followed behind and parked the car in the parking space at the gate. Qianfang got out of the car and negotiated with the security guard of the building. The security guard called their captain, who agreed. They went to the top of the building to have a look and asked the security guard to accompany them. He told Qianfang that if he didn't open the door, you wouldn't be able to get to the top of the building. Qianfang thanked the captain and walked back to greet Lu Ligan and the others to get out of the car. A group of people entered the hall on the first floor. Lu Ligan was chatting with Jason in front of him and didn't notice where they were. When he entered the hall, he saw 4 huge stainless steel characters on the wall facing the door, Lu Ligan. The Pole was startled. Those 4 words are, Jingfa Group. That clear figure immediately appeared in Lu Ligan's mind, with the same sharp gaze as the boss. Isn't this Huang Mei's father, Huang Hongguang's company? Thank you Lao Chantang for the tip. Thank you Dugu and Leo for your monthly votes. Thank you for all the recommendation votes and reading. I wish you all good health. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Niang. Chapter 506. Lu Ligan looked around. He saw people coming and going in the hall. Everything here seemed to be back to normal and operations continued. He wanted to find someone to ask who was managing the company now, but he didn't do anything. He was worried that the people who came to him later were in this building now. If he asked more, he might be asking for trouble. Lu Ligan followed the others to the top floor, the 32nd floor. The elevator door opened and faced a marble flower stand with a large cluster of flowers on it, which were welcome flowers. Outside the elevator, there is not an ordinary elevator room, but a front hall with an area of more than 100 square meters. Behind the flower stand, facing the elevator door, is a long row of front desks. Standing are 2 front desk ladies. When they see them, they smile. It's nice to say hello to them. On both sides of the front desk are maroon doors, which are the chairman's office and the chairman's office respectively, as well as two conference rooms, one large and one small. Although Huang Hongguang would not appear in any list of the company during his lifetime, the chairman it was the aunt's father, but Lu Ligan thought that this should be the office of Huang Hongguang, the real boss of this building. He doesn't know who the person sitting behind his executive desk is, with his head leaning on the back of the executive chair. Lu Ligan thought that when the elevator door opened many times, it was not them but Huang Meili who came out. She would definitely giggle with the front desk, give them some gifts, chat for a few words, and then push forward. Opening a certain maroon door on the side, Lu Ligan felt a little sad when he thought about it. The security guard took them into the fire escape next to the front hall. From here, they had to go up a flight of steps to reach the top of the building. There was a door at the end of the steps, which was locked. The security guard opened it for them. Open the door, and there is a blue sky outside. They walked to the edge of the roof and stood here looking towards the opposite side. They had a panoramic view of Haidian Island, Xinbu Island, and Kiangsu Strait. Jason quickly took out his camera and took pictures. Qian Fang also took out his camera. Padding. As soon as they arrived here, the group became excited when they looked at Haidian Island and Xinbu Island opposite, especially Mr. Han and Jason. With their professional sensitivity, they could see the value of Xinbu Island at a glance. Mr. Han and Jason, Lu Ligan said, "This place is great and there is a lot to do." They saw that although Haidian Island has been developed, it is still concentrated on both sides of Renmin Avenue, which extends past the Renmin Bridge, and Heping Avenue, which extends past the Heping Bridge. The hinterland of the island has not yet been fully developed. To the west of the island, except for Hainan University, it is surrounded by farmland and coconut groves. The east side of the island, across the Hangagu River and Xinbu Island, is completely undeveloped. Looking at Xinbu Island again, it is in the shape of an inverted triangle, like a wedge inserted into it, dividing the same river into Nanda River and Hangagu River. Judging from the shape, Xinbu Island does look like what Lu Ligan said, a dog head with an open mouth. Xinbu Island is the delta of the Nanda River. The island is lush and green, full of coconut trees and shrubs. The eastern part of the island is close to the Nanda River and is a large area of mangroves and wetlands. A slender inland river divides the entire island into two. On the top of the island, near the Kiangsu Strait, what Lu Ligan saw on the map was the open mouth and throat of the dog's head, which was an inland sea, forming a natural bay. This place is really blessed by nature, Mr. Lu, look at it, God has already planned it for you, you don't need to build any more. Mr. Han excitedly pointed at Xinbu Island with his finger, and told Lu Ligan and others that the outermost place near the sea, the top of the dog's head, could you see the blue sea and silver sand, which is a natural beach. The inland sea inside, yes, it is the dog-headed mouth you mentioned, Mr. Lu. There is no better place than this. It is a natural harbor. This is a cruise ship dock. With such a large water area, a large-scale project can be built here. Yacht Club. Near the Nanda River, have you seen the wetland? A wetland park can be built there. There is also this inland river. Along both sides of the inland river, there is a natural bar street, which combines all the leisure, dining, and entertainment on the island. Shopping and entertainment venues are concentrated on both sides of the river. Also, Changde Road will be extended directly to build a bridge, and a bridge will be built over the Hangagu River to connect with Haidian Island, so that traffic will be completely opened. Mr. Han kept talking. As he talked, the entire Xinbu Island began to change in everyone's minds. The future Jinghai city had an image in their minds. Everyone also felt that this place, according to such planning and construction, it will definitely be a highlight of Haikan in the future. Lu Ligan asked Jason if the floor plan could be released. Jason smiled and said, Mr. Han has already drawn it, no problem. Gangzi, how big is this island? Meng Ping asked. 9.9 square kilometers. Meng Ping did the calculation and shouted, That's more than 13,000 acres. This is really a big deal. If you take this island, you will be the land king of Hainan Island. Yes, it's too small to be used, Mr. Han said. On the island, don't consider golf courses. We should focus on the development of villas and high-end residential buildings to form a scale of about 100,000 people. In this way, the popularity will get up. After all, your entire bar-style street still needs to have the necessary population base. Yes, what Mr. Han said makes sense, Meng Ping said. If you really want to build a golf course, go to the other side of the Nanda River. You can do anything in that large area. It's just a matter of a pier. You can go golfing by boat. The stadium is also unique. Everyone else nodded and agreed with what Mr. Han and Meng Ping said. Lu Ligan stood here with a lot of emotions. He and others could not talk about this. If Zhang Chen were here, he could talk to Zhang Chen freely. He looked at Xinbu Island in front of him, which would be his new world in the future, but at the same time he thought that the roof of the building he was standing on was the place where Huang Hongguang bid farewell to this world. Lu Ligan didn't know that day, on what happened on the roof of this building. He didn't know what Huang Hongguang would be thinking, but he knew that at that moment, Huang Hongguang must have thought of Huang Mei. I want it too. Lu Ligan sighed softly. He did not expect that the end of Huang Hongguang's life would be the starting point of his future. He thought that one day in the future, if he could see Huang Mei again and told her this, he would. I don't know whether Huang Mei will feel relieved or more sad. Lu Ligan looked across the People's Bridge and searched forward with all his strength. He wanted to find Huang Mei's home and the place where he and Huang Mei said their last goodbyes, but it was so lush and green there that he found nothing, only the whispers in his ears. Come giggling, Huang Mei shouted, Lao Ma, Lao Ma. What are you thinking about? Zheng Wei was surprised and asked when he saw Lu Ligan looking into the distance with his eyes full of sadness. No, it's nothing. Lu Ligan turned around and smiled at Zheng Wei, looking a little panicked. Hey, handsome guy, is the original boss of your place Huang Hongguang? When Lu Ligan heard Meng Ping asking the security guard, he was shocked. He couldn't help but pricked up his ears, and he walked over unknowingly. Yes, so our doors to the roof are locked now, and no one is allowed to go up to the roof, the security guard said to Meng Ping. Meng Ping opened his mouth and made a surprised expression. He stretched out the index finger of his right hand, gestured downward twice, and asked, You mean Huang Hongguang came from here? The security guard nodded. Who is Huang Hongguang? Zheng Wei walked up to Lu Ligan again at some unknown time and asked quietly. This is the building where the original boss of Jingfa Group died, Lu Ligan said. You know him? We have acquaintance once, Lu Ligan said softly. Zheng Wei nodded, understood, and thought to himself, it turned out that the sadness in front of Lu Lizan was because of this. This man was still affectionate and righteous. By the way, Boss Huang is no longer here, so who is in charge of your company now? Lu Ligan couldn't help but ask the security guard. It is under the trusteeship of the city government now. A deputy director of the city government office is here temporarily. We don't know about the future, the security guard said. Why, can't Huang Hongguang's family be found? Meng Ping asked. It seems that we only found the original chairman, an old man. He was originally a nominal person and had never been to Hainan. After what happened, he refused to come even more. He didn't understand anything when he came. Only the municipal government took care of it. The security guard said to Meng Ping. Meng Ping nodded, but immediately sighed again. Qian Fang smiled and said, Why are you sighing? Meng Ping said, Oh, I really saw him building Isolo, watching him entertain guests, and watching his building collapse. This Huang Hongguang is a powerful figure in Haikan. Yes, Even the words of the play are emotional, Lu Ligan said. Is this a play? I don't even know it myself. I just heard it from others and thought it reflected the vicissitudes of the world. Which play is this from? Why is it so classic? Meng Ping asked. The Peach Blossom Fan by Kong Shan Gran, Lu Ligan said. Boss Huang was a very nice person and treated our employees very well. He was always polite when he came in and out, and he was always polite when he saw our security guards. On the day of his memorial service, many people cried, the security guard told them. Meng Ping patted him on the shoulder and said to him, "You are the best evaluation of him. Your boss's soul in heaven will be very happy when he hears it." Lu Ligan thought, yes, this may be what Huang Hongguang, Huang Meili, and her aunt want to hear most, and what is most gratifying. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 507. Jing Haiken's project document has now become the focus of Lu Ligan's work. They need to submit it to the branch for approval. After the branch officially approves it, they go to the Haiken city government to discuss the need for the project document. Later, they report it to the relevant departments of the city government. When the department asks the province and the central government to agree to adjust the planning of Haiken city, this project document also needs to be attached. The project document is so critical. Mr. Han is an expert in doing this, so he naturally did his part and agreed to help Lu Ligan and others prepare this project document. The pictures in it, including the entire planning, drawing, design and renderings, will be undertaken by Jason and his company. After everything is ready, it needs to be printed into a beautiful album with pictures and texts, so that it can be used, worthy of such a large project, and consistent with the identity of Lu Ligan and his company. Mr. Han left without even having lunch. He said he would go back to catch up on his sleep, and then get up and think about the project document. Jason also said goodbye. He asked Qian Fang to take him to the color printing shop first, leave the film there for development, and then return to the company. Meng Ping, Lu Ligan, and Zheng Wei returned to Lu Ligan's office. Meng Ping said, "Gangzi, show me the planning map." Lu Ligan brought the plan to Meng Ping. Meng Ping spread it out on the coffee table and began to read it. Lu Ligan and Zheng Wei did not bother him, knowing that this guy probably had some ideas. After a while, Qian Fang also came back, and Meng Ping asked her to sit down quickly. Lu Ligan and Zheng Wei saw the look of joy on Meng Ping's face, knowing that he had discovered something else. Zheng Wei and Meng Ping said, "Lao Meng, I think Director Wang's suggestion is good. You can either go and win the West Coast." Meng Ping shook his head and said, "I know that many people are already eyeing the West Coast. When you really want to get it, the price will be very high. There is not much oil and water, and it is not interesting. Besides, you are all beating gongs and drums to get ready, and I am still doing it piecemeal like chicken feathers for sugar. I am not willing to accept it. You have inspired me. I think I also want to start a big project, but on the West Coast, I can't swallow it, I don't have the strength yet. You can either join us and work on the Jinghaiken project together. Anyway, we definitely need to bring in external partners. Zheng Wei and I can recommend you to Beijing. Besides, Sun Ho also knows you and is interested in you. The impression is good," Lu Ligan said. "Yes, Zhang's proposal is a good one, Lao Meng, you can consider it," Zheng Wei said from the side. "If you agree, you can meet first when President Zhu and Sun Ho come back from Sanya." "Don't think about it, thank you both for your love." Meng Ping quickly waved his hand, "We are going to join in. It's just an ant crawling on the elephant. Don't think too much about the pole. You also know that there is no one in this hand. A character who has the right to make decisions and cannot make decisions as he pleases would suffocate me, Meng Ping, and I am still suitable for playing alone." Qian Fang kept nodding beside her. It seemed that she liked the way their company looked like now. "But Lao Meng, I think the West Coast can still be considered. If we can't eat the whole piece, We can eat part of it, Jianfang said. No, Mengping looked at them and suddenly laughed. The three of them looked at him, wondering why he was laughing. Mengping patted the planning album with his hand and said to them, I found a piece of fat. Where? Jianfang asked quickly. Mengping looked at Lu Ligan and Zheng Wei and said, You elephants, I don't want to climb, but I still want to lean on, you won't object, right? He pointed to Hadian Island on the map, the part separated from Xinbu Island by the Hangagu River, and said, My fat is here. The land price on Hadian Island itself is now much cheaper than that in the city. The land currently being developed is around both sides of Renmin Avenue and Heping Avenue, especially Renmin Avenue. Although the Zhirgu group has come in, their main goal is still in Yangpu, not Haikan. Hadian Island is just a small residential project of theirs. Li Kaxing's project is also here on People's Avenue. After the Century Bridge is open to traffic in the future, which part of Hadian Island will be hot? Or the two sides of these two avenues and the west of the island, right next to the sea, and the road from the Century Bridge, what road is it? Let me see. Century Avenue. Well, it is another avenue. The most popular part of Hadian Island is the vicinity of these three avenues. The price of land is going to go up, and it's going to go up by this amount, and there shouldn't be any large pieces of land left. But here, in the eastern part of the island, near Xinbu Island, compared with Heping Avenue, everyone already feels that it is biased. When it comes to the east end, no one cares about it. No one wants this entire large piece of land. Why? Because this is the most remote place on Hadian Island. In Haikan, apart from Haikan locals, not many people know about Xinbu Island. It is understandable that Xinbu Island is not included in Haikan city's planning. If it weren't for your Jinghai city to be developed, who knows, there will be a road and a bridge here to connect Hadian Island and your Jinghai city. I think as soon as your project is made public, haha, that at that time, everyone can see the value here. Not only is your Xinbu Island, this place is also where the value of real estate in Haikan is low. Mengping pointed at the map and said excitedly. Jianfang, Lu Ligan, and Zheng Wei's eyes also lit up, and they felt that Mengping's consideration was right. Only then did Lu Ligan and Zheng Wei realize that Mengping had been staring at the map just now. What was he looking at and why was the joy on his face? It turned out that this guy really saw a piece of land on the map. Fatty meat. Yes, Lao Meng, you really found a treasure, Lu Ligan said. Mengping looked up at Lu Ligan and Zheng Wei and said, whether this is a piece of fat actually depends on 2 points. One is whether your project can be completed, and the other is time. If after your project is submitted to the city government, there will definitely be rumors that this piece of land will soon become a hot commodity in everyone's eyes, and the business opportunities will be lost. Therefore, we must be ahead of you. Lu Ligan looked at Zheng Wei and said to Mengping, Lao Meng, there is no problem with this. I can promise you that as soon as Beijing officially agrees, I will tell you the news as soon as possible and we can follow you. The rhythm determines the time when we go to negotiate with the Haikan city government. Okay, thank you. Success or failure depends on this. Mengping clasped his hands and bowed to Lu Ligan and Zheng Wei. He looked at Zheng Wei and asked. Political Commissar, I'm sorry, Lao Meng, are going to stake my life and fortune on this. I must ask one more question. If your office in Beijing formally agrees to your plan, this will be obtained from the Haikan city government. Are you sure about this project, including the subsequent planning adjustments and so on, the province and the central government? Zheng Wei thought for a moment and nodded solemnly. Great, Mengping and Jianfang both breathed a sigh of relief. Mengping shouted, I'm just waiting for your words. Zheng Wei smiled and said, I didn't say anything. Needless to say, just nod and forget. Mengping smiled. He turned around and said to Jianfang, in this case, we have to take action immediately and make a big move. In this area, we will at least take him. 2,000 acres, if you clear all the other land on hand, just attack this one. Qian Fang said yes. Our operating model is also going to change. To be honest, I am tired of being a second-rate dealer. If this place is taken down, we will no longer be second-rate dealers. We will develop it ourselves and do our own projects. The two projects of our two companies, across the Hangagu River, if we work together, we will definitely be prosperous, Meng Ping exclaimed excitedly. Lu Ligan said yes, Lao Meng, you have a good idea. This, in turn, has heated up this area. As Mr. Han said, gathering popularity will also be of great benefit to our Jinghai city. Don't worry. We will cooperate with you. That's good, Pol. This is the second sentence I want to wait for. After Meng Ping finished speaking, everyone laughed. But Lao Meng, if we develop it ourselves, our funds will definitely not be able to keep up with such a large project of 2,000 acres, Qian Fang said. It doesn't matter. At worst, Meng Ping, will go back to Wuxi again. You know, Meng Ping, am also famous now. Old friends in Wuxi talk about me, haha, like a god. In the past 2 months, I have been saying this all the time. That friend introduced me and called me because he wanted to send money to Hainan Island. You can also use the method of turning sesame cakes, Lu Ligan said. After our project started, I also decided to adopt this method, so that the pressure on funds will be less. How to turn sesame cakes? What method? Qian Fang asked. Lu Ligan smiled and said, in our hometown, there are people who make Jinhua shortcakes. Have you ever eaten Jinhua shortcakes? All three shook their heads. Lu Ligan continued, the people who make Jinhua shortcakes are like this in the store. There is a large vertical stove with charcoal in the middle, which is burning brightly. There is a chopping board on the side of the stove, and the boss is here. Make biscuits on the chopping board, and stick them one by one on the wall inside the stove. After a batch is finished on the case, the batch in the stove is cooked. It is taken out of the oven and taken to one side. The landlady sells it hot. The new sesame cakes here are put into the stove to bake. The baking process is repeated every day. As he flipped through it, you could see that he was not in a hurry. There were never many sesame cakes in the iron basket where the sesame cakes were stacked, but he could sell thousands of them a day. I see, aren't you just talking about building in phases and selling in batches? That's a lot of nonsense, Jian Fang shouted. Lu Ligan was stunned, and Meng Ping said, no, the principle is the same, but the pole is more vivid, and it is not exactly the same thing. There is a time period for batch construction and batch sales. The pole, the key points are two, one is steaming and the other is repeated, this is the high state. Qian Fang said unconvinced, what's the difference? Of course the difference is huge. If it comes to a large project, we can sell buildings in this half month, villas in the second half of the month, shops and business buildings in the second half of the month, and office buildings in the next half. The advantage is that we always have a selling point here and maintain the popularity, Meng Ping said. The most important thing is that there is cash flow every day. As long as there is cash flow every day, the utilization of funds can be maximized and the pressure on funds will be reduced, Zheng Wei said. The simplest thing is, for example, if a supplier's payables are supposed to be paid today and you postpone it until tomorrow and the day after tomorrow, it is bearable for the supplier. But if you have a lot of payables, it will take 2 or 3 days. If you stay there for 2 or 3 days, your entire accounts payable period will actually be extended, and the financial pressure will naturally be reduced. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 508. Mr. Han and Jason were in full swing. Governor Zhu and Sun Ho came back from Sanya and listened to the reports from Lu Ligan and Zheng Wei. They felt that their ideas were very good and mature. They immediately rushed back to Beijing to make an oral report to their superiors. After they returned to Beijing, Sun Ho called Lu Ligan on the third day and told him to continue working on the project document and don't stop, but the branch has agreed to your plan and your work can start immediately until the project document comes out. Just submit a replacement copy to the branch. The branch does not need a project letter for the time being, but if you want to negotiate with the Haikan city government and relevant departments, you still must have a project letter. Lu Ligan told Mengping Sun Ho's phone number, and Mengping shouted, "Great, then I can start taking action here." Lu Ligan said, "Let's move. It's best to have our project documents come out and negotiate with the city government. You already have something in mind. In this way, as soon as we confirm it here, you can cover it up with lightning speed, take it off the ground, and by the time others react, the meat is already in your mouth." Yes, that's what I thought too. First let them think that we are fools. Only we will want the land that no one else wants, so we can just pretend to be crazy and act stupid for a while. Qian Fang is best at this. Mengping smiled. "Lao Meng, are you humming slandering me again?" Lu Ligan laughed loudly when he heard Qian Fang scolding Mengping on the phone. Immediately afterwards, the off-plan sales time for the second phase of their Hongyu building has also arrived. Wen Wen and Qian heard that Lu Ligan and the others were selling off-the-plan properties again, so they pestered Lu Ligan and wanted to buy more. Lu Ligan told them, "Forget it, this time the price of the off-the-plan properties was the same, still 48,000, but the house price is already 4,201 square meters, which is a full 2,000 more expensive than your last time. There is not much profit in the middle. The value-added space of off-the-plan properties is limited, so don't buy it." Wen Wen wanted to say something else. Lu Ligan told them, "Besides, no one will take you this time. It is definitely not appropriate for me to take you. Wu Zai took you last time and his face was almost scratched by his girlfriend. If you don't believe it, ask him yourself." Wu Zai sent Lu Ligan back. Wen Wen and Qian were below. When they saw Wu Zai, they made a hug gesture. Wu Zai quickly got out of the car and came towards them. As soon as Wu Zai approached, before he could hug him, Wen Wen said, "No matter, you still have to take us to buy off the plan property tomorrow." When Wu Zai heard this, his expression changed drastically and he stopped hugging him. He turned around and fled into the car. Wen Wen and Qian chased after him, and he immediately started the car and ran away. Lu Ligan laughed loudly, and Wen Wen and Qian stamped their feet in anger. Lu Ligan rode his motorcycle out, and when he came back from Yedeo Hotel, it was already past 1 in the morning. He had just opened the courtyard door and pushed the motorcycle in, but the door of Yilan's house opened. Yilan's mother stood at the door. Lu Ligan was startled and asked quickly, "I haven't slept yet. What happened?" Yilan's mother waved her hand and said, it's okay, I'm waiting for you here." "Are you waiting for me?" "Yes, are you going to sell off the plan properties tomorrow?" Yilan's mother asked. Lu Ligan understood. He thought that it must be Wen Wen and Qian who told her that she was waiting for him here. There was no doubt that she wanted to open the back door to buy off the plan property. Lu Ligan was a little embarrassed. This Yilan mother rarely asked him to do things. For this reason, people stayed up so late, so you fought with them and said no. Lu Ligan couldn't speak. Well, Lu Ligan and Wen Wen Qian were right. This time, because their house prices were set high, they thought there wouldn't be much profit and water in between. There would definitely be fewer people coming tomorrow than last time. Not only are they not sure whether the housing prices in Haikan will continue to rise, but even Mr. Han is not sure. He also believes that the housing prices in Haikan have reached the ceiling. Mr. Han said that last year the average annual salary of employees across the country was 2,300, which also includes all income such as bonuses. Although the salary has been generally adjusted this year, it should be around 2,700. Think about it, the current housing price in Hiken is 4,000. More than 1,000, that is to say, a person's income for 2 years, without food or drink, can only buy a house of more than 1 square meter in Hiken. Can house prices still rise? If you can still do it, you must be crazy. Although the actual income of Hiken people is much higher than the national average, 1 year's income, without food or drink, can only buy 2 or 3 square meters, and it takes 2 years to buy a bathroom. With so many houses, mainlanders can buy. If you can't afford it, people in Hiken can't afford it, so who will sell it to them? Only a few people in Hiken can afford a house based on their income. Luligan and the others also felt that what Mr. Han said was completely reasonable. The current housing prices should have reached the ceiling and could not rise anymore. Fortunately, most of their houses had been sold in the first phase, and the remaining these cannot be sold out in one day, so we can sell them slowly. Property prices have reached the ceiling, and those who buy off-the-plan properties will certainly not make much profit. Luligan feels that it is no longer a good time to speculate in off-the-plan properties. Luligan and Yilan's mother said, "The housing prices this time are very high. If you buy an off-the-plan property, you may not be able to make money. You may have to lose money before you can sell it. It doesn't matter here. If you lose, just lose a little. You just need to take me to buy it. I have already taken out the money." Yilan's mother's attitude was very firm. Luligan was surprised. This person who usually cares about every penny actually said that if he loses, he will lose a little. It seems that speculation in off-the-plan real estate is really making people crazy. Stirred to the point of confusion. But when people said that for this reason, it would be unreasonable for him to shirk it anymore. Luligan could only ask, "Then how much do you want to buy?" Yilan's mother held out 3 fingers. 3, I want to buy 3 here. Luligan thought for a while, and then he said to Yilan's mother, "Then you have to agree to a condition." "Say, I understand what's going on here. You can't put the unfinished property this time," Luligan said. "I will take you there tomorrow morning. If you buy it outside, you can sell it tomorrow morning. As long as someone wants it, no matter how much it is, you can buy it, sell it, okay? If you lose a little, don't sell it, and I'll replenish the money for you. Do you agree? I'll take you there only if you agree." Luligan thought to himself, 150,000 yuan, all the Yilan family's land compensation money was stolen by his bad boy father. Even if their family took out all their wealth, they would not be able to get 150,000 yuan. Among them, said you might have borrowed it from relatives and friends. If you lose everything, the family will be ruined. This is no joke. Everyone is buying up and not buying down. If the pre-construction property falls, the further it falls, the harder it will be to get rid of it. When it comes time to pay the house payment, if you hold the pre-construction property in your hands and cannot pay the house payment, then you can only accept compensation. All the money spent on off-the-plan property was wasted. Luligan didn't even have a bottom line, so he insisted that Yilan's mother sell the off-plan property on the same day. Yilan's mother nodded and said, I agree here." Luligan just went upstairs. He pushed the door and entered the room. The room was quiet. He went to the inner room and took a look. Wenwen and Qian were sleeping like 2 little pigs. Luligan was very angry. Walked over and gave each of them a high five on the buttocks. Wenwen rubbed her eyes and sat up. Qian sat up suddenly, then opened her eyes and stared at him. Luligan cursed. "You 2 idiots, what did you say to Yilan's mother again? Why is she still waiting for me?" Wenwen said ignorantly, "No, we have nothing to say to her." "Are you telling her that my company will sell off the plan properties tomorrow?" Luligan asked. Qian cursed loudly, "Damn you, you are not even willing to sell off the plan property to us. What else did we say to her? If you don't mind it, We can't even afford to embarrass this person. Why don't we even bother to embarrass this person? We might as well share a humming room with a dog. Wenwen agreed and said, "That's right, get out of here. Don't try to get in here today." The two fell down and continued sleeping, ignoring Lu Ligan again. Early the next morning, Lu Ligan went downstairs. Yilan's mother was already waiting for him at the door, holding a cloth bag tightly with both hands. Lu Ligan knew that the cloth bag contained the money for her off-the-plan property. The three of them arrived upstairs and the elevator opened. Lu Ligan breathed a sigh of relief. He saw that there were 20 or 30 people outside waiting for their company to open. The situation was not bad. It seemed that even if Yilan's mother bought the off-plan property, she would still lose money. The probability of falling is not high. Lu Ligan took Yilan's mother directly to Wei Wenfang's office. Zheng Wei and Chen Ji were both here. Lu Ligan and Wei Wenfang said, "Sell her 3 off-the-plan properties." 3? Didn't you say that one person can only buy one? There are already so many people here outside, Wei Wenfang shouted. Lu Ligan glanced at her and said, "This is my landlord." Zheng Wei had also heard from Lu Ligan about Yilan's mother. She knew who she was. Zheng Wei and Chen Ji said, "Go and help her with the procedures." Lu Ligan and Yilan's mother said, "Don't forget what I told you yesterday." Yilan's mother nodded repeatedly, "I know how to do it, I know how to do it." Chen Ji took Yilan's mother out, and Lu Ligan called Cao Kuoking in, and told them that it seemed that there were still a lot of people today, so why not? The purchase limit today is still one per person. Xiao Cao, you and Wei Wenfang, just bring the people, go down and go to the gate. If you want to come in to buy off the plan property, just give him a number and let him in. After the number is given, don't let the people behind you, so there will be no chaos. Wei Wenfang and Cao Kuoking both said that this method was good, and they took the people out. The sale started at 9 o'clock, and there were still 87 off-the-plan properties, which were sold out in less than 2 hours. Lu Ligan didn't ask Meng Ping and the others for help today. The people in their own company already had experience, and everything was in order. Wei Wenfang came in and told Lu Ligan and Zheng Wei that it was sold out. The two looked at each other and laughed. During the entire sales today, they sat in the office and didn't hear much. Is this the end? Lu Ligan stood up and walked outside the company door to see if Yilan's mother was still here. When he went out, there was no one outside. Lu Ligan returned to the office and looked under the window. There were many people at the gate of Longja building. These people came late and were blocked by Cao Kuoking and others. He told them that there were no more off-the-plan properties for sale upstairs. Yes, all sold out. Lu Ligan didn't see Yilan's mother among these people. Lu Ligan returned to the sofa and sat down, and said to Zheng Wei and Wei Wenfang, "I feel that Mr. Han's judgment may be wrong this time, and the housing prices in Haikan will continue to rise." You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 509. Lu Ligan returned home and saw Yilan's mother and Wenwen Qian standing in the yard below, talking about something. As soon as they saw Lu Ligan coming back, Wenwen and Qian seemed to have seen a ghost, and immediately after escaping back upstairs, Lu Ligan was wondering, what must these two guys be up to today? Yilan's mother smiled when she saw Lu Ligan. Lu Ligan asked her, "Have all the off-plan buildings been sold?" Sell it, Yilan's mother smiled. "Is there any loss?" Yilan's mother quickly shook her head and looked around. When Lu Ligan approached, she lowered her voice and told him that she had already made money here. "How much did you make?" 25,000. 3. Yilin's mother laughed loudly and told Lu Ligan that one of them made 25,000 yuan each and walked from upstairs to downstairs and sold them at the gate. Many people didn't get the number and couldn't get in. Waiting at the door, someone came down from upstairs and asked for their purchase number. Only then did Lu Ligan realize that the so many people at the entrance of Longja building that he saw in the morning had formed a temporary market for buying and selling the unfinished properties of Hongyu building. Lu Ligan smiled and said, "Okay, just make money." Lu Ligan walked upstairs and entered the room. Wen Wen and Qian were sitting on the sofa. They laughed wildly when they saw him coming in. Lu Ligan suddenly woke up and cursed, Those three Yilin mothers, do you also have a share in the off-plan property?" The two people laughed, and the flowers trembled wildly. Qian cursed, "Do you think we can't do anything if you don't sell it to us? 3 off-plan properties, 1 for each of us, just right. Do you want to thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you?" After Qian finished scolding, the two of them rolled on the sofa, extremely happy. Lu Ligan scolded, "Thank you for being able to say it out loud. Even Yilin's mother wants to take advantage of it." Lu Ligan walked over and wanted to hit them. Wen Wen kicked her feet randomly to resist his approach and shouted loudly, "What's wrong? Yilin's mother doesn't even have enough money to buy one, so why don't we lend her 10,000? You're so kind, why don't you lend her the money?" Lu Ligan was dumbfounded by them. He remembered and asked, "By the way, when I came back last night, were you pretending to be asleep? In fact, you all heard what Yilin's mother and I said down there." "Of course, don't you hear that we can sleep?" Wen Wen smiled. Qian snorted and said, "I'm giving you an advantage. I didn't ask you for a midnight snack last night. I'll make up for it when I come back today." Lu Ligan looked at them and said, "Sit down and let me ask you a serious question." Wen Wen stopped her legs, sat down on the sofa, and said, "Ask me. You go around every real estate like this every day. Let me ask you, are there more or less people speculating in off-the-plan real estate?" "Of course there are too many. Dogs and cats are all speculating on off-the-plan properties," Wen Wen said. "Now every place that sells off-the-plan properties is being snatched up. Moreover, starting from that ghost building of yours, many places have restricted purchases. Damn it, those good days when you can buy 10 in one go are gone." "Yes, it's all your fault," Qian scolded from the side. "How about something like today, where you can make money by buying it upstairs and selling it downstairs?" "Is that much?" Lu Ligan asked. "Of course there are more. We have all bought from others. Isn't there a purchase limit? If I want to buy 5, there is no way. There are 4 more. You can only buy from other people. The person who bought them will turn around. It can be sold," Wen Wen said. "Those who drive vans don't drive during the day. Haven't you noticed that it's difficult to drive vans in Haikan during the day?" Qian said, "Fortunately we have motorcycles." "What did they do?" Lu Ligan asked. Qian said, "Help people line up. It costs 30 yuan per person. This is for people who queued up and didn't get the off-the-plan property. If they queued up and bought it, the minimum is 100, and many are 200. It's not as good as driving a caravan a good deal. Yes, Yilin's mother goes out every morning and helps people line up. She earns income every day," Wen Wen said. Lu Ligan was secretly surprised. He didn't expect that real estate speculation in Haikan had reached this level. Lu Ligan asked, "What about housing prices? Have you seen anywhere where housing prices are falling?" Wen Wen looked at Qian, and both of them shook their heads. Wen Wen said, "How is it possible? How could the house prices fall? I haven't seen any of them." "Yes, it's impossible. It will definitely continue to rise," Qian said. Lu Ligan listened to their firm tone and thought that perhaps their judgment was more direct and accurate than Mr. Han's. After all, they were the real ones on the front line. Lou Ligon also felt that Kinkin's words were so familiar. After thinking about it for a while, I remembered that Mr. Han had told him and Zheng Wei that time, saying that the Japanese were like this a few years ago and always believed that the stock market will always rise and housing prices will always rise. Although Mr. Han also said that since last year, Japan's stock market and housing prices have begun to plummet, but it has taken more than 20 years to go from rise to fall. Heiken's real estate has only been up for a few months. It's still early. Didn't Mr. Han himself say that the waves in Heiken have just begun? Thinking like this, Lou Ligon was full of confidence in the future of his Jinghai City and Jinghai International Financial Center. He thought, I don't need more than 20 years, just give me 5 years. At that time, I will have these 2 projects, have been built and sold out, and I am just like Zhang Shaoan, returning home in fine clothes and spending time in the theater troupe every day. No, I will buy a theater troupe. If I don't buy anything else, I will buy the Yongchengwu Opera Troupe. My troupe is not going anywhere. What a crappy touring show. It sounds nice, but in fact it is almost like begging. My Lou Ligon's troupe is the only one. If you don't do this, the stupid and poor troupe will go out and even the dead have to sing for them. Can my troupe, Lou Ligon, do this kind of thing? Of course not. It's a lifetime of bad luck. Lou Ligon's troupe, won't do it. What are we going to do? I let them, Teacher Lee, Suji and me and the drum-beating teacher Su, I let them live in a good place. Of course the shabby house of the troupe will be demolished, they will have good food, and I will at least build a building like Wanghai Tower. In the staff cafeteria, I asked them to schedule my new play every day to participate in the Ministry of Culture's performance. I didn't believe that I, Lou Ligon, couldn't win the Best Screenwriter award. Am I the only person who can write model for the Times? Yes, I will write the story of our journey to Hainan. That Feng Logui, I humming let him come on stage every day to act as a Spanish gangster. No, there are no Spanish gangsters in Heiken, so I will let him play the bad guy under Ajeng, the bad guy under Ajeng. I go to tease beautiful women every day. That beautiful woman. Thinking like this, Lou Ligon immediately thought of Tan Shahen. He was startled and stopped quickly, but he still brought his thoughts back to the ebb and flow of Heiken. Lou Ligon said to himself and in his heart that we are all the trendsetters, yes, as the newspapers said, the trendsetters of the times. Thinking this, Lou Ligon couldn't help but straighten up. He seemed to see himself like a surfer, riding his orange surfboard, about to face a huge wave, rush up to the top of it. On the top of the wave, he will see that the sea and sky are blue, so blue that it makes people want to cry. Hey, what the hell are you giggling about? Ween Wen stretched out her toes and poked Lou Ligon twice in the waist, waking him up from his daydream. Okay, when I come back, I'll treat you to something delicious tonight. Lou Ligon grabbed the motorcycle key from the coffee table and said to Ween Wen Qian. We are going to the Lion Building, Qian said. Okay, I'll invite you to the Lion Tower. Lou Ligon agreed. Ween Wen stretched out her hand towards Lou Ligon, and Lou Ligon asked strangely, what are you doing? Deposit, in case you come back and regret it, or you are fascinated by that bastard and don't come back, Ween Wen said. Yes, Qian jumped down from the sofa and grabbed Lou Ligon. Lou Ligon smiled bitterly in his heart. Damn it, didn't I ask for trouble? He knew that he wouldn't be able to leave without giving today, so he asked, how much? 500, it's cheaper for you, 300 is fine, Ween Wen said. Lou Ligon touched his butt pocket but couldn't find his wallet. He opened his backpack and went to look inside. He found the wallet and saw a sealed envelope inside, and then he remembered that this was the first issue he had sold. On the day of the off-plan sale, I wrote it to Zhang Chen and put it in my bag, but I never forgot to send it. The current situation is already different from when he wrote this letter, but Lou Ligon felt that the feeling he had when he wrote this letter was very real. He decided to send the letter anyway. He had time in the past 2 days. And write a new letter to Zhang Chen, telling him what happened next. Are there any stamps? Lou Ligon asked Wen Wen and Qian Qian. What are you doing, writing a love letter? Wen Wen asked. Yes, is there any? Lou Ligon took out 300 yuan from his wallet and held it in his hand. 300 yuan buys a stamp. Wen Wen straightened up, and unexpectedly took the 300 yuan from Lou Ligon's hand, then kicked her inside, walked to the inner room, and took out a stamp. As Lou Ligon went downstairs, he took out the letter. He turned the stamp over, licked the adhesive backing with his tongue, and then affixed the stamp to the envelope. Thank you U205155936 for your monthly ticket. Thank you for all the recommendation votes and reading. I wish everyone good health. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 510. Zhang Chen came down from the upstairs of Woolen Hotel and looked up at the hazy sky above his head. He sighed and felt a little confused. He looked at the time and saw that it was already past 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Xiao Zhao had an early shift today and it was already after get-off work. She was still at the Red Flag Hotel, waiting for Zhang Chen to go back with her. Zhang Chen looked at the day and saw that it was going to rain soon. He thought that instead of going anywhere else today, he would go back to the Red Flag Hotel first. When he came out in the morning, he didn't bring rain gear and walked slowly. He was afraid that the rain would catch up with him. In front of him, the company Zhang Chen went to just now is a decoration company. The boss himself is a designer. After seeing the works Zhang Chen brought, he thought they were good. Unfortunately, what they lacked was not design, but business. Zhang Chen sat there for more than 10 minutes, and the boss talked with him for more than 10 minutes. From his words, Zhang Chen finally understood why there were so few decoration companies in Hangzhou and he wanted to find a job as a designer. It's so difficult because the market demand for this industry in Hangzhou is too little, and it's completely different from Haikan. In Hangzhou at that time, home decoration was completely blank. It's not that no one can do it, but no one needs it at all. People in Hangzhou lived in houses owned by either the Housing Management Committee or their work units. Who would decorate the houses owned by the Housing Management Committee and work units? Isn't that a waste of money? If you were allocated a house, the most you could do was find someone to paint the walls. Paint, paste wallpaper, hang a few chandeliers and congratulate you on your new move. There are also some units that are trying it out first and have started housing renovation. However, because everyone generally did not pay attention to home decoration at that time, no one needed to find a specialized decoration company to decorate their houses too conspicuously. Even for those who are planning to get married in a new house, they can find a few friends to paint the walls, paint the floor, or lay a layer of rubber flooring. Those who want a more upscale pursuit can just buy a few rolls of wallpaper and paste the walls. That's it. Even for plumbers, they would ask plumbers from their workplaces or friends' workplaces to help. So at that time, the plumbers in the workplace were more comfortable, because everyone was in need, and they didn't know when to ask for his help. For some large projects, such as foreign-related hotels, large shopping malls and hotels, people simply do not believe and look down on local decoration companies in Hangzhou. They have to hire companies from Shanghai, Guangzhou, Shenzhen, and even Hong Kong companies to work on them. As for the various companies in Hangzhou, they all rented in large and small hotels at that time, and there was no need for decoration. They were units that had their own office buildings. You looked at a very impressive building from the outside and walked in. The desks and chairs in the office inside are still from the 1970s and 1980s. Anyone who renovates his or her office is committing corruption and is being criticized by everyone. That is to say, some medium-sized commercial stores still need decoration, but when they applied for approval, These decoration businesses were taken away by people introduced by either the Industrial and Commercial Bureau, the Taxation Bureau, or the Health Bureau. Even if your boss wants to do it for you, he is helpless, just like Liu Bang, the great ancestor of the Han Dynasty. When the boss was talking, Zhang Chen thought of the zinc and decoration company. There was no business there, but no one was doing business seriously. Zhang Chen rode to the Hunky Hotel, pushed his bicycle into the door, and heard Xiao Zhao calling him, come on, Sister Gihua has something to tell you." Zhang Chen quickly locked the car and went over. Xiao Zhao and Zhang Chen said, "Sister Gihua has something good to do, please sit down quickly." Zhang Chen sat down in the duty room. Sister Gihua looked at Zhang Chen and smiled. She said it was not a good thing, but there was such an opportunity. "When you pass Sijiking every day, have you seen the water pump factory building something? House?" Zhang Chen said he saw it. "He must be creating some kind of market, right?" "That's right, we are building a clothing market," Sister Gihua told him. Hai Zhen and his former vice president of the market have gone there to become the general manager. He and Hai Zhen are very good, and they brought Hai Zhen with them. Let him be the deputy general manager. "That's great, congratulations to Brother Hagen," Zhang Chen said quickly. Sister Gihua smiled and said, thank you, but it's not about Hagen's business, it's about yours. After Hagen gets there, each person will be allocated a quota for a stall. You also know that Sijiking is now the booth requires a lot of people, so they stipulate that each insider can only have one quota. I haven't thought about it yet. It was Hagen who told me. He said that you seem to be very interested in clothing. He also saw you in the market, right?" Zhang Chen couldn't help but blush. Hagen saw him in the market. Wasn't it the time when he was caught by the female boss in the market and accused him of stealing copies? After that time, Zhang Chen was a little scared. He went to the market again and never went in again. He said that he was very interested in clothing. Where did he start from? Zhang Chen secretly glanced at Sister Gihua and Xiao Zhao. Neither of them asked further about why he went to the market or what happened at the market. Zhang Chen couldn't help but secretly breathe a sigh of relief, knowing in his heart that Brother Hagen was just talking to Sister Gihua. When she met him in the market, he didn't tell her how he met her, otherwise Sister Gihua would definitely tell Xiao Zhao. Zhang Chen said vaguely, "Yes, sometimes I check how early it is. After buying a newspaper at the newsstand there, I will go inside." "That's great. Have you learned something?" Sister Gihua said. "I know a little bit," Zhang Chen replied. He told himself in his heart that even this point was not all taught to him by Brother Hagen. "Oh, why did you go so far away while talking?" Sister Gihua saw that Xiao Zhao was a little anxious beside her, and she laughed. She said, "After Hagen told me, I was thinking, yes, Xiao Zhao's belly will get bigger every day, and it won't be good for him to wash and brush if he gets water every day. Also, what will happen after the baby is born? You are different from us, and there are no old people to help you carry it, so the general manager has to carry it himself, right?" Zhang Chen nodded. He hadn't thought that far yet, but when Sister Gihua said it, he thought it was really the case. Even if Xiao Zhao was born, they would not be able to return to Yongcheng, let alone let the child go. In his own home, he asked his parents to help take care of the child, and even if the child was weaned, he thought that neither he nor Xiao Zhao would be able to bear the child not being with him. His mother would be willing to come to Hangzhou to help them take care of the children, but what if his mother is here and his father is at home? His father is usually at home, but he is a man who can't even hold a soy sauce bottle overturned. His mother has to help arrange and take care of everything. If his mother is not here, let alone other things, even eating will be a problem. And if both parents come to Hangzhou, where will they live? Zhang Chen does not have a fixed income, which comes and goes, and Xiao Zhao's salary is not high. Although the salary was increased last month, prices are also rising. They are still getting by, but they will be nervous when they have a child. If you want to rent a big house that can accommodate 4 adults, it will cost at least 7 to 800. The combined retirement salary of Xiao Zhao and his parents is only enough to pay the rent. Does the child not need milk powder? Don't you want to live, sir? The little savings they have cannot be used casually. As soon as they start, there will be no bottom. The amount in the passbook will shrink rapidly and they will not last long. With their income, they cannot afford a nanny, so of course they have to take care of the children themselves. Zhang Chen nodded. Sister Gihua said, this is a work unit, and it still has its own rules. Besides, as waiters, we can't carry a child to work every day. If we are noisy, we are not afraid. If we are noisy to the guests have to be there for those who wrote opinions in the opinion book. I thought, isn't there just such an opportunity? Then just go out and do it yourself. Be your own boss, and I, the King of Heaven, can't care about you. Xiao Zhao can take the child to the stall every day, feed the milk, run the business, and take care of the child. In Sijiking, who is doing business with the child? How good is this? Zhang Chen finally understood that Sister Gihua meant to give him Brother Hagen's stall spot so that he and Xiao Zhao could open a shop in the clothing market to sell clothes. Zhang Chen quickly said thank you Sister Gihua and thank you Brother Hagen. He knew that Sister Gihua and Brother Hagen had good intentions and that everyone was thinking about them. He also knew that Sijiking's stall was very popular. You don't need to ask this, you already know it if you have been there. The business is so good in a place, and everyone must be trying to get there without breaking their head. He, Xiao Zhao, Sister Gihua and Hagen are not related to each other. How could Zhang Chen not be grateful for this good thing, just thinking of them? What made Zhang Chen feel uneasy was that he had gone to Sijiking to see it, and he knew how they did business. He thought that if he was asked to talk to people about projects, especially when talking about his plans or designs, of course he would have no problem, and he could talk eloquently for half an hour. But if he had to stand at the door of the stall like them, shouting at the top of his lungs, look and look, they are all hits. Zhang Chen felt that he could not open his mouth, especially when he had to talk to his side. Go to the booth to compete for the quality of your voice. Zhang Chen thought of being by the West Lake. He was full of confidence when he was painting alone. But when the students from the Academy of Fine Arts appeared, he felt that he had instantly lost his courage and became shy. Why, he himself I don't know, although Teacher Chu thinks he can draw better than them, Zhang Chen himself also thinks that he must be better than them. Zhang Chen remembered that day, he was still in a panic and ran away from there. Although they laughed and ridiculed him from behind, he still didn't look back. He only thought about that as long as he could leave there, he would be relieved. It's liberating. Zhang Chen felt that if he had to stand at the door of the stall and watch the people coming and going in front of him, before he spoke, as long as someone from the stall next to him spoke, he would instantly wither.